Now, our next speaker is our State Teacher of the Year, Mr. Chris McLeod. He has been touring all over the state this past year, advocating for us. I can't imagine a better person to advocate for our profession than Mr. McLeod, and he's given lots of speeches to lots of different organizations, and I'm quite certain he's really glad this will be his last official speech as State Teacher of the Year. Mr. McLeod is our rocketry teacher at Brazos Wood High School. They have set 5 national records, national championships in a row at Wysen's missile range. His wife, Kelsey, is a counselor at Brazos Wood High School also. Mr. Chris McLeod.
Well, hello. I know we're pushing lunch, so I'll be briefish. Typically in class, we like to start with a warm-up, so I made you guys an activity for this week. If we can get to the next slide. I made you some BISD PD bingo. Think of it kind of like fill-in-the-blank notes, to keep you engaged. So if you click one more time, you're going to see that that's definitely not a QR code that I'm going to leave up for a few minutes with a direct link to the bingo board. And the first person that brings me a blackout, I'll make you something 3D printed, for real. So anyway, today for a reason that I can only think to be cost savings, I've been asked to speak. So buckle up. You're stuck with me for 4 to 5 to maybe 7 long-ish minutes. And my wife, Kelsey, told me to avoid weird rocket talk and engineering metaphors, but she doesn't have a microphone, I do. So when I teach my students about presenting their nerd rocket models and presentations, I always remind them to know the audience to which they're speaking. Because the real goal of presenting or even conversation is sharing and connecting. That makes something like this tough. How do you connect to every varied role in this district? How can you convince each and every person that you matter? I can't pretend to know every stress that each of our roles will play this year. Even in just teaching, our jobs look different. With my seniors, we talk rocket engines and flight dynamics, and some of you are just trying to keep kids from having a bathroom accident during reading time. Let me be clear, I think your job is much harder than mine. I supped kindergarten in my early days and had way too many unidentified liquids on my body. I'm not capable of what you early year teachers do. In my world, I'm helping kids shape a college letter, and some of you are helping students shape letters for the very first time. It's incredible the different parts of a student's journey that we get to witness along the way. From these kiddos. There's a bingo space. One commonality, however, that I've learned is that male students of all ages tend to draw the same inappropriate shapes. Some of us are face-to-face with students every day, some of us more behind the scenes. Some of us are here during the day, some at night, some on weekends. Some of us get really, really excited when we go to PD and see the giant Post-it notepad. And some of us have already texted whether we're going to Azel's or picket fence after lunch, for lunch. Speaking of, duty-free lunch does not mean duty-free lunch. You'll click, yeah. So just get that clear. Last week I was speaking at Region 4 and shared that teacher discounts, like our perk program, do apply at coffee shops, but not at liquor stores. And all that to say, you matter is a good theme, because you do. More than your work output, or student scores, or hours logged. You as a human matter. And we owe it to ourselves and each other to live that out. To be forward and honest with our conversations, not to hide behind emails or titles. To be good stewards of our time and our money and our resources. To be our authentic selves in the classroom and give a flip. Students are obviously and definitely the focus, but I've never seen a teacher leave a job because of students. Rather, it was always because of the professional environment. So you matter, and your coworkers matter. We are so each consumed with our own stories and struggles, our own stresses and triumphs, our own losses and our wins. So go easy on each other. So to start the year, whether it be your first or your 13th or your 35th, I'll avoid the metaphors and quotes and just share a few pieces of advice, mostly reminders to myself. Note, most of this data I pulled from our greatest source of educational wisdom, the BISD advocacy page on Facebook. So number one from that page, we'll never get traffic patterns or start and stop times right. Just give up. Number two, public schools are conspiracy-filled mafias. I'm just kidding. But let's see to the real number one. And number one is that we get unplugged. Especially from social media, that can be toxic. But also from the classroom sometimes, from planning, from all the things. You cannot fill from an empty cup. We don't have limitless capacity. So take mental health breaks. Take it off when you need it, and don't be guilty about it. Turn it off when you get home. I am incredibly guilty of getting home and still being in that play-by-play, moment-by-moment classroom mode. Kelsey and I can be watching Netflix and that thought floats into my head. You know the one. Are the efficiency gains from shifting to a bell-shaped rocket nozzle over conical worth the increased machining demands? Okay, maybe yours isn't quite that specific, but you know what I mean. So know when to say no, know when to step away. Your mental and physical health matters. You matter. Number two, don't be scared of change. We tend to build aversion as we get older to anything new. I remember at my previous district when they removed Scantron machines from our work lounge. I thought there was going to be a riot. Today we fear Wikipedia and ChatGPT and AI and all the things. Well, guess what? They're a part of our world. Instead of hiding from it or shielding from it, learn about it, utilize it, teach it. Heck, ask your students about it. One of the most powerful questions that I can ask any time in the year is, will you show me how you did that, even if I knew how to do it? The fastest way to get old is to quit learning. So let's model good learning for our students. But don't say the word hashtag actually out loud. That's not trendy. Hashtag your students hate it. So change is okay. Third, keep some enthusiasm. First-year teachers, you have been bombarded with information. You learned acronyms that a lot of us have forgotten. And maybe at this point, you're just wondering how to survive day one. It's going to be okay. The most important thing is showing up and being genuine. And to help you out just a bit, let me go ahead and summarize all of your safe schools for you. Don't touch kids, co-workers, or blood. To those teachers who are around for text instead of star, and maybe take cut and paste a bit too literally around the copy machine, be helpful. New folks don't need to hear your war stories about kids these days, or cell phones being the detriment to society, or how those rascals messed up your game with Jacks down by the soda fountain. I'm not saying to fake it, but I am saying you tend to become what you focus on. So focus on what you can control, and keep some enthusiasm for the classroom. Number 4, lead well. I tell my students that leadership is about climate control, not crowd control. Good leadership puts ideas over hierarchy. The best leaders don't care who gets credit, just the great things are happening. Good leadership allows criticism and feedback and chews on it and reflects on it. Otherwise, we become an echo chamber of our own ideas and rigid in our thinking. So yes, you matter, and so does every other person here, and their ideas. Every role, every responsibility, every belief, everyone who's different than us. I'm not always right. Right, Kelsey? Be willing to say that to the people you work with and the students you teach. All right, and your bonus points advice as I end, be flexible. One guarantee I can make is that your first weeks will not go exactly as planned. My greatest test answer to date came years ago as a physics teacher. We were covering a basic unit on sound and sound waves. So on test day, I asked, why can't we hear anything in space? And the students answered, because it's so far away. Not the teeth, buddy, not the teeth. I still chase his confidence to this day, and I absolutely gave him full credit. It's going to be okay when things don't go according to plan. That's why we have each other. Heck, sometimes it's even more fun. So thank you for your time, and good luck with bingo.